Hey guys, Shashank this side. And if you need scripts to lead the conversation, you have already lost the deal. And I know this statement will trigger a lot of people because this entire industry is based on selling scripts to high ticket closers like yourself. But overall, the problem with that is the scripts is eventually going to make you sound robotic, sound scripted, not be present in the conversation, and overall just be another pitch deck for the prospect. If you think like ultimately you're speaking to a human being, right? A normal human being just like yourself. Let's suppose you went on a sales call on a Google Meet. You took out time, you were facing this challenge for the past 6 months. Example, you're facing some challenges in high ticket closing for past 6 months. You're not able to make that 1 lakh rupee commission every month. So you took out time, you watched my videos, and you took out the time. You finally decided after watching tens of my videos that this guy can actually help me. You booked a call with me. You delayed one of your sales call because you wanted to really improve, and you came on a call with me. You know, freed your bandwidth for 1 hour. After coming on the call, what you realized is Shashank is on the call, but he's just reading a script. He's not even barely listening to you, what you are saying. He's just asking you the next question. He just wants to get over with the script that he has created, the perfect script that helps him to close at 40% at a high ticket price. Eventually, what happens? You feel disconnected and you feel that, nah, this is not the person. And you feel uncertain as a prospect. Why? Because, like, I am uncertain. I need to follow a script to sell. Then, how can I essentially lead you to sell to people at high ticket prices, right? That's exactly what you are doing on your sales call right now. Because you are so much identified, because people have sold you this idea that say this line, say this rebuttal, don't miss out this line. That is why what happens on the sales call, your mindset is completely different. You always operate from a point of view that if you follow the script end to end, you will get the sale. That's wrong. And you have the life proof. You have followed the script many times, but you haven't gotten the sale. You always fear missing the next line. What if I miss a line? My manager will review my call and then he'll find out I haven't followed the script. Third, you are always, the prospect is speaking, but you are always looking, okay, what's the next question? What's the next question? And you sound robotic. You're not present in the conversation. Think of high ticket sales just like speaking to a patient, right? Think of it like you are a doctor on a sales call. Example, let's say you went to a doctor, you're having stomach ache, for example, right? So your stomach is upset, you went to the doctor, and doctor is like, he has opened his sheet with him, or let's say he's on the laptop, he's looking at the laptop and he's like, okay, what is the challenge you're facing? Oh doctor, I'm feeling, having stomach ache. Okay, how long have you been facing this? So you would feel like what's wrong with the doctor, right? And that's what exactly you're doing. Instead, what does the doctor do? He just takes us, relaxes, sits back, and he's like, hey, what's your name? What's the problem you're facing? Kab se ho raha hai? Okay, what did you eat last night? Okay, you ate this. All right. Do you have an allergy? So he's present in the conversation because he knows he's the expert. Because he knows that whatever question needs to be asked on the call, to the patient, he will get it because he is the expert. He has been doing this for a while, right? He doesn't need to memorize lines or memorize some questions, and that is the mental shift you need to understand. Scripts do not convert. Leadership is what actually converts. Overall, like, the scripts will only create mental load for you, and the moment you go into your head to remember a line, you leave the conversation emotionally. You're not present. So the prospect is giving you pain, but you're not taking the pain and you are moving forward. And I see this with all the closers that I train. They're just so much fixated on the right questions to ask, the right, lines to ask, that they almost miss out everything. In the first 5 minutes, first 3-5 minutes, prospect is giving you all the pain. I can literally wrap up the entire call just by listening for that 3 to 5 minutes and ask all the questions that I need to ask in the next 15-20 minutes in probing part. But since closers do not actively listen, they are not able to do that. And ultimately, in order to have that leadership frame on the call that I was referring to in the last call, the main thing you need to do is active listening. Listen to what your prospect is saying and then form the question instead of asking him generic questions from your script. Now, the thing is, of course, let me relate it to one very important thing, because when I was doing high ticket closing, I also used to rely on scripts. And that is good for beginners, because if you're just starting out, a script will give you that certainty that it'll give you something to hold upon, because you're just starting out. I don't expect you to start out and, just start out the journey and start doing this, what I'm actually referring to. But if you have been in the industry for some time now, you have taken some calls, you need to evolve yourself to become that top 1% closer. When I was back then, I was doing this, scripts actually helped us to, it makes us feel safe overall. It gives you that certainty, correct? And that is why you're holding on to the scripts. But the problem with that is you never learn how to think. You never learn how to lead a person. You never learn how to diagnose the right beliefs in a person, which is holding them back from making decisions. And that is, I think, you don't learn how to think properly. That is the main crux of it, I would say. The difference, how I became top 1% closer, is not just by focusing on scripts, but learning how to think on a sales call, learning how to lead a person, learning how to diagnose the challenge or the problem that they are facing in a manner that even they felt, wow, like this is an expert, he knows what he's talking about. And that is the shift that you need to have in your journey as well. Because if you just keep following the script and the prospect goes off script, you are like, it's a googly for you. You don't know then what to say. You basically start fumbling. You start going all over the place. You drop the price faster. You start pitching them directly. And you basically are just like all over the place. You're not able to control the call then, right? So ultimately what you need to do is very simple thing. The best closers that I have worked with did not memorize lines. The best closers, the calls that I have reviewed who close at 30, 40, 50, even 60%, they don't follow scripts. They have mastered three things. They have mastered these three things. What are these three things? Let me tell you. Number one is identity. What is identity? Basically who you are being on the sales call. When they went on the call, they were literally like, their authority could be seen on the call. They were not going as a salesperson. It doesn't matter whoever comes on the call. It is their call. Like they own the call, and that is the identity that they enter the call with. That's the first thing. Second thing that they actually master is mechanics. What do I mean by mechanics? They actually understand how decisions are made. They understand the psychology behind sales. Not just surface level stuff, but actual human psychology. For example, let me ask you this question. Why do you think people always prefer familiar suffering over unfamiliar progress? That's a deep question. Even you watching this video, you're not good at you're not good at objection handling, or you're not good at closing. You're barely closing at 10% at a mid-ticket size. But instead of actually taking an action, actually investing into yourself, you're okay to suffer the familiar things that you have, instead of, dropping a good investment in yourself to learn high ticket closing. Why? Because that is uncertain progress. And human mind always likes certainty. So that is the second thing that these people master: sales psychology. The first one was identity. Second one was the psychology or the mechanics. And the third point that they master is principles. Why? Because with just identity and psychology, you cannot close the deal. You need principles after that. And what are the principles? It is the timeless rules that guides any sales conversation. If you want to get something out of the prospect, there is a certain framework that you need to follow, certain principles that you need to follow on the sales call. And when you get these three things right, I'll give you the example for principles as well. In TLS, in top line selling, we teach the 5-stage TLS framework to people. Not the script, but the 5-stage framework, 5 stages that govern all the sales conversation that you have. You don't have to sound robotic. You don't have to, follow any scripts in this. It's a framework. That's the difference, right? You can loosely cover anything at whatever point while having a normal conversation. The prospect will feel that you are actually having a conversation, but you, at the back end, you are actually making sure that the framework is being followed. So it seems like a natural conversation, and you know that you're taking the prospect towards, you're getting them closer to the sale by following the 5 stages overall. That's what we teach. That is what principles are overall. And when you get this right, you can sell anything to anyone in any industry, doesn't matter. I really mean it. Not just in high ticket coaching space, but you can take the same skills to edtech, you can take it to real estate, you can take it to software sales, SaaS sales, any type of sales. Why? Because ultimately it's human psychology. You're speaking with human beings. Until and unless you're speaking to an alien, right? This won't work if you speak to an alien. But if you're speaking to humans, then this will work. These 3 things: identity, mechanics, principles. That is what you need to focus on overall. Now, ultimately, what I would like to conclude this upon is the real confidence comes from knowing that you can handle any human in front of you. That is what leadership means. That is what being an expert means. Once you have that internal certainty, that doesn't matter whoever comes on the call. Even Elon Musk or Mukesh Ambani can come on the call with me. But if they come on this call with this specific challenge, I can handle them. It doesn't matter if they are a billionaire, right? But if they have this challenge, they come on a call with me, I can handle it. Once you have that certainty within yourself, that is when the flip happens. That is when people can sense it on the call that this person knows what they're talking about. This person knows his shit. That is the point, the level that you need to get yourself up to. Now, if you want to become a leader, you want to stop sounding robotic, and you want to start leading the calls without actually ever needing a script, this channel will show you exactly how to do that. So subscribe to this channel if you are ready to outgrow scripts and build real sales authority on the call. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.